So you are confronted with the tragic, awful news that your child is either ill or has developed some form of disability or is not going to develop as you perhaps hoped they would when they were first born. And you are going to have to put in place adaptations within your home to accommodate your child and to enable your child to live as full and as complete and as wholesome a life as possible. Where are you going to get the money from to do those adaptations? How are you going to fund that? I suspect that, as with many things, many of us would think, there'll be grants, there'll be council support, there'll be social services provision, and so on. But is that actually the case? Well, the fact that a charity called Sullivan's Heroes has had to be set up to fund home adaptations for disabled children may give us a clue. And joining me on the line to tell us something of the story of the charity and why they set it up and exactly whose memory it's been set up in is Fiona Smith, one of the founders. Fiona, welcome to UCB.
Hello, good morning to you.
So tell us, first of all, the background of Sullivan's Heroes and why you set the charity up.
So Sullivan's Heroes was set up by myself and my husband. We went through the process of setting the charity up in 2014 and 2015, actually launched the charity in 2016. The reason we set up the charity is during 2014 we had to adapt our house for our son Sullivan, who had a very rare muscle disorder, and we had to make our house wheelchair accessible, build an extension with a downstairs bedroom and bathroom for him, and widen doorways throughout, put ramps throughout. During the process of that, we applied for a council grant, which we received from the council, Disabled Facilities Grant, which is fantastic and is a value of up to £30,000. But the actual cost of our project came to nearly £80,000. So we were then in a position where only one of us was working. I was a carer for Sullivan. We needed to raise those funds, and we looked as to whether there were any charities to help and found there weren't. There were no charities that would help with fundamental building costs. There are charities that help with equipment and medical surgery, but none for actually making the adaptations to your house.
And we should point out, I mean, it should go without saying, but we better point it out just in case. I mean, what you were doing here to accommodate and to create a space for Sullivan, you weren't looking to build Buckingham Palace. I mean, you weren't building Trump Tower. This was sort of basic stuff that was a necessity, not a luxury.
That's right, that's exactly the case. We weren't trying to make our house better in any way. We were literally making the adaptations that were required for Sullivan to be able to be moved about the house in his wheelchair, to be able to be lifted in and out of his wheelchair, in and out of his bed, putting tracking and hoisting throughout the house. None of these elements are something you would do to make your house look prettier by any means, especially, having to put a ramp outside your house. I don't think anyone would do that out of choice, but it's a fundamental need if you have a disabled child. So these are the adaptations we were putting in place.
So what took you from the place of doing this yourselves and realising there was nothing to thinking, actually, we need to actually set the charity up, we need to start to support other families?
Well, whilst we were going through this adaptation process, we thought, well, there's obviously a clear need for this charity. We could set that up and we could try and fundraise and help people. Tragically, at the end of our adaptation project, Sullivan actually passed away in early 2015, just as we were putting the charity together. But we wanted to continue that to help other families that have gone through the same situation and are struggling to meet the funds required. So that's why we put the charity in place, and we've actually set that up with two purposes: that we fundraise to be able to give out grants to the families, and we also support the people, these families that are fundraising, by letting them set up a page on our website, and they can get friends and families and colleagues involved, and even members of the general public can donate direct to a specific child, because we saw whilst we were doing these adaptations for Sullivan, that's what happened with us. We got lots of friends, families and colleagues involved, and that has a snowball effect, and more people then start fundraising, and complete strangers start fundraising for you. So we saw that there was this opportunity that people could help fundraise for their own costs.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why I wanted to put that in place and set that up for other families.
And, of course, to do it in acknowledgement of and to remember Sullivan as well. SullivansHeroes.org is the website if you want to have a look at it this morning. Now, there would be those who might argue that actually this is ridiculous, that you have to do this. There should be government funding, should meet this. But I wonder if you entirely agree, because as you say, there are partial grants available, and I wonder if there's actually something very precious about the fact that total strangers, as well as friends and family, are willing to get up off their chair and make some effort to help families in this situation.
That's right. As I said, there are grants available, and there are some situations where a house can be adapted within those costs, depending on the amount of adaptations having to be put in place. But in a lot of situations, in our situation, we couldn't put a through-floor lift in our house to go from one floor from the ground floor to the first floor. That's why we had to put an extension on the house, which is the same with a lot of situations with families. And you're faced with this situation where you can't move house because you're settled in the place you are, and
Yes.
all your medical infrastructure is in place, as well as obviously your social infrastructure. So, and what we found with our fundraising, as a lot of families have, is that exact thing that you've explained, that it's actually a very humbling experience to see how many people do want to get involved and how many people want to help a local family. We help the families that we support getting in touch with their local community. We give them information on how to sort of access local media and get local companies involved, and a lot of local companies like to donate via our charity direct to a specific child. And I think it is an overall experience that the families find, that there's a lot of people out there that do want to help them on their journey.
Yeah. And as we said, sullivansheroes.org.uk is the website. sullivansheroes.org is the website. And if you have a look at that, you can see some of the stories of children and families who are being helped. And you can also see how some of those companies and some of the football clubs and so on and so forth are prepared to get on board with helping support the charity and support the work. And I wonder whether, is it really as simple as people can go to your site, take a look at some of the stories there and go, actually, I'm going to do a run anyway. I could do a run and raise money for this. I need to lose some weight. I could do a sponsored diet and raise money for this. Is it really that simple and that straightforward?
Yes, it really is. That's exactly it. People can, whatever event or challenge or, cake sale at work, any event or activity that people want to be involved in, they can do that for Sullivan's Heroes. We can help them set up a fundraising page, and they can also do that directly for any of the individual children themselves. If they want to participate in something for one specific child, they can set up a fundraising page, and we can assist them with that. We're always open to any ideas, but it is that simple. They can just go straight to our website and set up participating in an event for us.
And by the same measure, families who need help and who perhaps have been thrashing around trying desperately to find help, well, those families can come to you as well and not only get help to set things up, but get help through the process with guidance about how to engage your local community, as you said, because it can be a very lonely journey for families, this, can't it?
That's exactly right, and it is also a very difficult situation where you're faced with, you need a big chunk of money, and how do you go about that? And we're all proud people. No one wants to go out begging for money, but it's so that first step to actually say, I need to do this. This is for my child. This is what I need to do to go out and start engaging people to help me. And once you've done that first step, then it literally does snowball, and people find it quite an exciting experience, the fact so many people do want to get involved.
SullivansHeroes.org, remembering Sullivan and supporting those who are having to take this journey that Fiona and her family had to take with him. If you have a look at the website for yourself, you can see all about it, to see what you can do. And perhaps if you're thinking over the summer that you need to do something to help someone else, great opportunity and a great, great charity doing tremendous work. SullivansHeroes.org. Take a look at it for yourself. Fiona, lovely to speak to you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much indeed.
Christian radio for everyone. UCB 1.